Hey, good morning to everybody. A happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and early 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, if you guys saw, I didn't make a video yesterday. I was very busy yesterday, and something happened to me yesterday that I have to tell you guys about. Completely 100% true story about getting a haircut. And this directly relates to yesterday's video. It makes a perfect point. Stay tuned. And then there's also something, a personal part of my life that I need to tell you guys. I debated yesterday about talking about this, but it directly relates to yesterday's topic. Okay, yesterday's topic was the Axios poll that Democrats are a lot less likely to date Republicans than Republicans dating. Republicans are much more willing to date Democrats. Conservatives are much more likely to date liberals, and liberals are much more likely to make that a deal breaker. If you are a Republican or a Trump supporter, that is a deal breaker. And I can directly relate to this. There's so much that I didn't say yesterday that I need to get out today. Okay. There's been a lot more hubbub about this. There's been a lot coming from the right. People like Gutfield. I'll put the link down below. A lot of people on the right they tried to make a point. They were all upset that half the dating pool was more or less out of their reach, and this upset them. A lot of people like Gutfield said that this just demonstrates that the left is nowhere near, they're not tolerant of other people's views like they claim. They're a lot more intolerant than they claim. I want to talk about this. All right, the first thing, this came to mind yesterday. Now, this has to do more with younger people. A lot more women Democrats, I think it was like in the 70 percentile, 70% or more of the female Democrats polled would not, it was a deal breaker, would not date Republicans. And about 30 or 40% of the men would not date Republican women. Whereas only like 5% of the Republicans said that would be a deal breaker the other way around. So Republicans were a lot more likely. And this is why. Because Democrats and liberals make much better mates, make much better lovers. Empathy. Think about this, all right? On the right, Trump supporters, how many times have you seen these t-shirts, these bumper stickers? F your feelings. Okay? Now, these are the same people that are wondering, they walk up to a woman in a bar wearing a t-shirt like this, and then they wonder why they get shot down. And then there's an article down below, there's a link down below to a Salon article, and they made an excellent point. That the people, like Gutfield and the other people people on the right that have been complaining about this, it just demonstrates this entitlement. They feel like they could act any way they want. They could act as rude or insensitive as they want, and that they shouldn't be called out for it. Like a sense of entitlement. I could do or say whatever I want with no repercussions. And so the Salon article down below points this out great. I'll just put the link down below because they say it a lot better than I am. Okay, now I need to tell you about what happened yesterday. Before I do that, I was debating about telling you guys about this. The last relationship I was in, we broke up. We stayed best friends. We went all the way back to childhood, but I broke the relationship off because I was thinking, the subject of marriage came up. As you guys know, I was getting a hip replacement. And I was in excruciating pain. I could hear, I made videos where I could hear the bones grinding against each other. That was a fact. The bones were grinding. That's something, the pain was unbelievable. And I was dating this person at this time, and we were talking about marriage. And she had told me right out that she's not big on empathy. She's not big on compassion. Swear to God. And when you're in the beginning of a relationship, you say, it'll change, you can change this person, or she's just saying that because she's being defensive. She's putting up a wall. It'll come down. No. So this is the true story. So they started talking about getting the whole hip replacement, and I was terrified. We're dating at the time. because I read how they were going to do this. They were going to cut off the top of my femur and pound a metal spike in there and replace the hip. And this scared the bejesus out of me. And who do you talk to? You know, I was scared. I'll admit it. I was terrified, you know, of this operation. I was like, what if I end up with, you know, they had to cut off my leg or something? It sounds ridiculous now, but I was terrified. And the woman I was dating at the time did not want to hear any of it. Didn't want to hear it. I said, Daryl, it's your own fault. You exercise too much. You should have gone to the doctor earlier. It's your own fault. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your complaints about pain or your worries about the operation or anything. I don't care. So I thought about that. It's like, what if this relationship continues? What if in 10 years I get cancer, you know, and we're married, you know, for sickness and in health? Then, you know, is it going to be my fault? Am I going to be able to depend on anybody being there? And that is when I broke the relationship off. Now, I didn't want to talk about this yesterday because this person is no longer with us, but it relates directly. The reason we broke up, we stayed best friends and I'll always love her. But the reason the romantic relationship ended was directly related to the subject I talked about yesterday, about her being a conservative with absolute lack of empathy and compassion. For me, at least. I don't know, maybe she had compassion and empathy for others people, but not for me. Anyway, okay, let's move on to, this is the big story right here. Yesterday, I go for a haircut. Now, I've talked about my barber before. I have to talk about this because I was ticked off yesterday. As you can see, I got the haircut. So I go in, I'm halfway through the haircut. I went in with a mask. I put the hand lotion on. I sit down. Now, I've sat in this barber chair. I've made videos about this before, where I've sat there and listened to these people, you know, talk about, hey, they love Trump and they hate Biden and let's go Brandon and all this other stuff, you know. But I'm hesitant. I'm a person now that I'm in recovery. Change is hard for me because I found something that works and I'm hesitant to make changes. But now I have to find another barber. This is what happened yesterday. Like I said, he told me over and over again, he's a Trump supporter, you know, he doesn't like liberals, you know, F BLM and all this other stuff. But I kept going to him, and I told you guys in the last video just a couple months ago about his reaction to Audrey passing away. And I was hesitant to go back to him. So I'm sitting in the chair yesterday, halfway through the haircut, and I could hear his voice is raspy. Doesn't have a mask on. He's told me before that he won't get a vaccine. Tells me yesterday that he just got over COVID, over the Delta COVID, the Delta variant, that he was sick and he was just getting over it. As he's standing next to me for 10 or 15 minutes cutting my hair. I didn't know. I was just in shock. I clammed up. I didn't know. What do you do at that point? Half my hair's cut. Now, I had my vaccination and my booster, thank God, just about 3 weeks ago. And he says, oh, it was terrible. You know, it was terrible. I didn't think I was going to make it. And as he's standing next to me, and then he's not even exact about when exactly. He said, well, if he had come here about a month ago, I wouldn't have been here. So I'm trying to figure out in my head, you know, how long has this guy been over this? And I'm trying to remember the articles on when people are contagious. Now, after this yesterday, I had a date to take my mom out to lunch. We go out. I usually take her out to lunch at least once a week. My mom is a susceptible lady in her mid-70s. So I can't, as soon as I leave there, I didn't say anything else about it, but as soon as I left there, I canceled the lunch with my mother. You know, even I've read before, you know, the virus could be passed to me and I could pass it to her, you know, and then you look at the lack of empathy. This person, how many people have gotten sick sitting in that barber chair before he showed symptoms, while he showed symptoms, and then now he's back at work. So I looked it up after I got home, and supposedly maybe after 10 days after showing symptoms, supposedly you might not be contagious anymore. Now, I don't know if that's what I looked up on the internet. It's the most information I could find. This was just yesterday. If I come down with this, I'm going to be extremely angry. But it's this lack of empathy, this lack of concern for other people. Now, people out there might be saying, well, he had to make money, he had to earn, you know. That's not my concern. It doesn't give him the right to put me, my family, and God knows how many other hundreds of people from this town in danger of being hospitalized or worse. I swear to God, that wasn't planned. I'm still furious about this, but it makes a perfect example of why liberals, why Democrats will not go into business, will not befriend or date conservative, Republican, Trump supporters because of a lack of concern for others, a lack of empathy. Money is the most important. I'm still furious about this. All right, I see I'm running long on time. You guys, I'll be back later. I still got more to talk about this. You guys have a great Saturday.